I want to talk today about why I purchased an iPhone 4 in 2021. iPhones obviously have been around for an extremely long time. It feels like forever, but it's really only been since I think the late 2000s. But they've dramatically changed the way that we operate. People spend more time on their phones now than they might potentially spend with their families. iPhones, smartphones have dramatically changed the way that we operate. And it's not only just the iPhone itself or the smartphone itself, but it's the apps on the smartphone that have really changed the way we think and operate. Facebook wouldn't exist to the size that it was without iPhones. Twitter, Instagram, all these apps wouldn't exist to the extent that they do exist now without the iPhone as the portal in which we view these apps. So it's been pretty incredible seeing the transition for the last few years, but I definitely noticed myself, and I tried this once before, and I'm not sure why I switched back, that I use my phone too much. I'm doing a 10 minutes a day thing, and it's very difficult, but I definitely have noticed I'm more in the moment. Like when I was with my friends this last night, I was with them for about 2.5 hours, and the whole time I was there. I wasn't focused on my phone. I wasn't thinking about my phone. I didn't have a YouTube video open up that I couldn't wait to get back home to start watching. I was in the moment with my friends. But just because I was able to do it today doesn't mean I'll be able to continue to do it tomorrow. So I think that by downgrading my phone, this could potentially be something that doesn't just change like the way I view things, but maybe potentially changes the way that these videos are made and potentially the way that I think about life in the future. Obviously, this is pretty dramatic, but the thing is our phones are probably the most important tool that we as a society have. It used to be the wheel, then it was fire, then it was a hammer, so on and so forth, but now it's the phone. Money can be transferred, billions of dollars can be sent with Bitcoin in an hour for a $5 fee. The game is changing. Things are changing around us rapidly, but that doesn't mean it's all for the better. Yes, I do think there are so many positives with phones, but an iPhone 4 is not that great of a phone. I mean, it was a phone that was released, I think, back when I was in high school, and I graduated college like 3 years ago. So I might be dating myself now, but that's a pretty old phone, and phone technology changes very, very rapidly. I think it's going to be interesting once I receive the phone, how this changes the way I operate. Some of my concerns are that I buy the phone and then I start using it just as much as my other phone, just a smaller screen. But I'm thinking that downgrading my smartphone from the amazing phone that I have now, the iPhone 11, down to a phone that's significantly worse, I think that that could potentially have some serious positive ramifications for me especially, and potentially for the people who view this video and try something similar. I'm not just ragging on the iPhone 4, it's just an old phone. I mean, the reality is it's just an old phone. That's just what it is. Technology changes year to year amazingly fast, but also you look at a 10-year stretch to see what the iPhone was to what it is now. It's barely even comparable. So I think that this iPhone 4, not even really challenge, but test, I think will be a good one for me. The reason I didn't go with the flip phone is because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to communicate with anybody. The hurdles I'd have to jump with iMessage and sending certain things, I think would be too great for me. But I do think that having an iPhone 4 in such a small form factor will deter me from watching YouTube videos when I have a second and might push me to go reading. I know last night, again, doing the 10 minutes on my iPhone every single day, instead of playing on my phone, I chose to read a book. I haven't done that in such a long time, but it's really refreshing because I always use the basis of YouTube as an excuse because, well, it's okay because I'm learning something. It's okay because I have some free time. It's okay, I worked hard today. But the reality is everybody does all those things all the time. You're not special. So why not take that free time that you have and learn a new skill that might actually be valuable for you instead of just watching, in my case, Warzone highlights on YouTube? Will the phone have the best camera on the planet? No, it's not going to have a very good camera. Again, it's almost a 10-year-old phone. Will it have the best battery life? No, it's a very old phone. But what it will have is it'll have everything that I need. It'll have a camera to capture the moments. That's what I've noticed with these smartphone cameras. They're good. They're very, very good. They're very solid. But the thing is that they're still just a smartphone camera. The sensor size is significantly smaller than what a DSLR camera is going to be. So they just can't take in as much data, as much information because the sensor is so small. So it doesn't really matter. I'm not taking these pictures because they look fabulous. I'm taking the pictures because my dog and cat are snuggling at the moment. That's why I'm taking the pictures. I want to capture that moment, be able to look back on it. It doesn't need to be the highest resolution photo. It just needs to be a photo. The speakers, they're not going to be that great, but I shouldn't be listening to my phone constantly. I don't constantly need content. I know I struggle with that when I take a shower, is I need to find a video that I can prop my phone up so that way I can listen to it and watch the video. Why can't I just take a shower anymore without having to listen to content? Why do I have to constantly be infusing content into my life? So that's another thing I'm super excited for. And also just maybe simplifying life a little bit. Again, the positives of an iPhone far outweigh the negatives in my opinion. That's what I believe. But I want to see if I can get all the positives while reducing the negatives. Why can't I just use my phone for the positive things without having to go onto YouTube and watch hours and hours of brain dead content? I think that there's a time and place for all this stuff. And I think that with this iPhone 4, I'm really going to hopefully be adding a lot of value to my life and hopefully be adding potentially a lot of value to your life. Is it going to be the best phone? No. Is it going to be the best phone for me? Potentially. Downgrading is something I've talked about before on this channel and I've done, but the problem is that it's tough. You see that as a great option, but then when you get into the moment and you have the opportunity to upgrade your phone, you have the cash for it, it's easy to say yes. It's easy to be like, well, I'd like a better phone. Who wouldn't want a better phone? Who doesn't want better stuff? So I think that this is going to be a good learning lesson for me. I'm going to spend 1 week with the iPhone 4 and potentially maybe a lot longer could be the new phone for me and maybe the new phone for others. I hope that this is something that I can gain a lot of value from and that maybe others can gain a lot of value from, because I would love to be able to take away something from this experience that is more than just saving money. Like obviously the phone is really cheap and far cheaper than the iPhone 11, but maybe my life is a lot better. Maybe I'm happier. Maybe I'm not just constantly being pushed with content all the time. I always have to be listening to something. I always have to be watching something. And in my free time, I can just enjoy the moment, be there, go for a walk, hang out with my dogs, hang out with my wife. That's what I'm hoping to get out of this. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. And I'm not saying I couldn't do that with this phone. I know maybe I have a little bit of problems. But I think if I can get the iPhone 4 in hand, just because it's not as good as what I'm used to and I know exists for super cheap. I mean, there are way better phones than the iPhone 4 that cost like $100. So I think that if I can get an iPhone 4 in hand, it'll really dramatically change the way I start looking at smartphones. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.